Welcome to our deep dive into the Italian language.
Oh,
Today we'll be exploring
right.
an article
Okay.
called The Italian Language. Everything you need to know from Lingualid.
Cool.
So whether you're brushing up for a trip to Italy
Right.
or just fascinated by the language itself, let's uncover what makes Italian so captivating.
I love it.
We'll uncover its history,
Okay.
some of its quirks, and maybe even learn a phrase or two along the way.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes Italian so interesting
Yeah.
is how it, along with other Romance languages like
Yeah.
Spanish and French,
Yep.
all descend from essentially
Yeah.
street Latin,
Yeah.
Vulgar Latin,
Vulgar Latin.
spoken during the Roman Empire.
Exactly.
I always found it fascinating
Yeah.
that so many languages, from Spanish to French, all share a common ancestor.
It's amazing.
How did these distinct languages emerge from one root?
Well, think of it like
Yeah.
seed scattering. Okay.
And taking root in different soils.
Right.
As the Roman Empire expanded, Latin took hold across Europe,
Yeah.
but it didn't remain static.
Right.
It mingled with existing
Yeah.
local languages,
Okay.
creating a patchwork of regional dialects
Right.
that over time evolved in their own unique ways.
So we have these regional dialects blossoming,
Yes.
each with its own distinct flavor.
Exactly.
But how did one specific dialect
Right.
rise to become what we consider standard Italian?
Well, that's where towering literary figures like
Yeah.
Dante Alighieri come into play.
Dante Alighieri.
His masterpiece, The Divine Comedy.
The Divine Comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Written in the Florentine dialect.
Wait.
It wasn't just a literary triumph. It was a linguistic one as well.
What do you mean by that?
Well, did he invent new words or something?
Oh, okay.
Not quite,
Okay.
but its widespread popularity and influence
Right.
had a standardizing effect.
Okay.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Before The Divine Comedy,
Right.
there wasn't one
Okay.
definitive way to write Italian.
I see.
Dante's work,
Yeah.
using the Florentine dialect,
Right.
provided a model
Okay.
for grammar, spelling, and style
Okay.
that other writers began to emulate.
Oh, interesting.
So in a way, he helped unify the language
Yeah.
and pave the way
Yeah.
for what we now consider standard Italian.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty powerful.
it is
One book having such a huge
a
impact
huge impact
on a language.
on a language. Exactly.
I understand that even today,
Mhm.
Italy is known for its diverse dialects.
It is. It is.
So if I were to travel beyond the main cities, I might encounter speech patterns
Yeah.
quite different from standard Italian.
Absolutely. You could even say that modern Italian is more like an umbrella term encompassing a rich tapestry of dialects.
The article mentions a few that stand out.
Oh, yeah.
The melodic Sicilian, the sing-song rhythm of Neapolitan,
Yeah,
the idiom-rich Venetian,
it is.
and the distinctly nasal Lombard.
It is, yeah.
It really paints a picture of linguistic diversity.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And for someone truly passionate about Italian, exploring these regional variations
Yeah.
provides a deeper understanding
Right.
of the language and culture.
Okay.
While standard Italian
Yeah.
might be the official language,
Right.
these dialects are living testaments
Yeah.
to the rich history and cultural tapestry of
Yeah.
the various regions.
It's as if each region has its own
Yeah,
unique voice
it does.
contributing to this beautiful chorus
It is, yeah.
of Italian expression.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's dive into some of the specifics of the language.
Okay.
The article mentions that the Italian alphabet only has 21 letters,
Interesting.
which is 5 fewer than English.
Right.
What gives?
Yeah, so where did J, K, W, X, and Y go?
Yeah.
Those letters do exist in Italian,
Okay.
but are mainly found in loanwords adopted from other languages.
Right.
Interestingly, this smaller alphabet
Yeah.
actually simplifies pronunciation
Okay.
because each letter typically has one consistent sound,
Right.
unlike English,
Yeah.
where spelling can be a bit of a minefield.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So if you see a word like Bella,
Yeah.
you can pretty much pronounce it correctly
Yeah.
right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Though, even with my limited Italian,
Yeah.
I know there are a few curveballs,
Yeah, like what?
like double consonants.
Oh, yeah.
How do those affect pronunciation?
You bring up a good point.
Yeah.
While Italian is generally phonetic,
Okay.
There are nuances
Yeah.
that take a bit of practice.
Right.
Double consonants, for example, are pronounced with a slightly longer emphasis,
Okay.
adding a staccato feel.
A staccato feel.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
To the word.
Staccato.
Yeah.
I've heard that in music.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But how does it apply to language?
In music,
Right.
staccato indicates short, detached notes.
Okay.
In Italian pronunciation,
Right.
it refers to a similar
Yeah.
sharp, clipped sound
Right.
when pronouncing double consonants.
Okay.
It adds a certain
Yeah.
rhythm and emphasis, which contributes to the musicality
Okay.
we often associate
Right. Right.
with Italian.
So those double consonants actually add to the beauty and flow of the language.
They do.
That's fascinating.
It is.
And speaking of pronunciation,
Yeah.
I remember from my high school Italian class that those diphthongs
Oh, yeah.
could be a bit tricky.
They can be. They can be.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Diphthongs, where two vowels combine to create a single sound,
Right.
are a unique feature of Italian pronunciation.
Okay.
For instance,
Yeah.
the word ciao,
Right.
which I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
is a classic example
Yeah.
of diphthong.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. We've got a language shaped by history,
Shaped by history.
full of regional variations, with pronunciation. It's generally straightforward,
Right.
but with some intriguing quirks.
Yeah.
Like diphthongs and double consonants. Absolutely.
I'm ready to tackle the next layer.
Okay.
Grammar.
Yeah.
I have to admit,
Yeah.
I'm a little intimidated
Oh, yeah.
by those verb conjugations.
Yeah.
They seemed endless in my Italian class.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
We won't delve too deep into the grammatical jungle.
Okay.
But understanding the basics is key to unlocking the language.
Right.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
Italian sentence structure is generally quite similar to English, following the subject, verb, object order.
So if I wanted to say, I eat pizza, would I say, io mangio pizza?
Precisely.
Oh.
You've got it.
Okay.
Now, verbs
Yeah.
are where things can get a bit more complex.
Right.
Italian verbs have three main types,
Okay.
ending in our air and ire.
Right.
It conjugates differently depending on the tense, person, and number.
Okay.
However, there's a logic to it.
Okay.
Once you grasp the patterns, it becomes much easier to navigate.
And of course, there's the whole concept of noun genders,
Right.
which we don't really have in English.
Exactly.
How does that work?
Well, in Italian, every noun in Italian is assigned a gender, either masculine or feminine, which influences how you use articles, adjectives, and even verbs.
Oh, wow.
It might seem arbitrary at first, but there are often patterns to help you identify the gender.
So is it as simple as...
Well, for masculine, for...
Right, 8 for feminine, that's a good rule of thumb.
Okay.
Words like il ragazzo for the boy and la ragazza for the girl follow that pattern.
Okay.
But as with any language, there are exceptions and nuances.
Okay.
Words ending in E can be tricky. And sometimes the gender might not be immediately obvious.
This is where it gets really interesting for me.
Oh, yeah. Why?
It's like solving a little puzzle.
Okay.
Figuring out the gender of each noun and how it affects the rest of the sentence.
Right. It definitely adds a layer of complexity. But also a lot of richness to the language.
Yeah.
And speaking of complexity, let's unpack those definite articles you mentioned earlier. I remember...
struggling with those in English.
Yeah.
We just have the...
Right.
But Italian seems to have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, you're right. It can feel a bit overwhelming at first.
Right.
So how do you know which one to use?
Well, Italian definite articles change.
Okay.
Depending on the gender and number of the noun.
Okay.
For singular masculine nouns, it's either il, lil, or lo.
Okay.
The choice depends on the first sound of the noun.
Okay.
Feminine singular nouns use la or lil.
Right.
And then for plurals, it's I or gli for masculine nouns and le for feminine.
It sounds like there's a lot to keep track of.
There is, yeah.
Are indefinite articles, words like a or an in English, equally complicated.
Actually, they're a bit simpler.
Okay, good.
For masculine nouns, you use un or ino.
Right.
Again.
Yeah.
Depending on that initial sound. And for feminine, it's una or una.
So mastering these articles is really the foundation.
Absolutely.
For speaking and writing correct Italian.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, we have to make sure those adjectives agree.
Yes.
I vaguely remember learning about that in class.
Yeah.
Something about adjectives having to match the noun.
Exactly. It's another example of how grammatical gender plays a role in Italian.
Right.
Adjectives need to agree with the noun.
Okay.
They're describing both in gender and number.
Okay.
So a masculine plural noun will require a masculine plural adjective ending.
I'm starting to see the interconnectedness of it all.
Yeah.
Nouns, genders, articles, and adjectives all working together.
They do.
So let's shift gears.
Okay.
And talk about some resources for learning Italian.
Great.
You know, I'm a big fan of language learning apps.
Me too.
Yeah.
They've become such fantastic tools.
Right.
Our source article mentions Babbel.
Okay.
Which uses personalized lessons and voice recognition technology to help with pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get started.
I've always been curious about language exchange programs.
Yeah.
Do you think those are effective?
Absolutely. They're an excellent way to practice conversational skills.
Right.
And gain fluency in a more organic way.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to connect with native speakers,
right.
which is invaluable, of course, for a truly immersive experience.
Yeah.
Nothing beats
a
study abroad program.
Right.
Or a language immersion trip to Italy.
Well, that's what I call learning in style.
I love it.
Speaking of style.
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by the musicality of Italian.
Yeah.
There's something so beautiful and expressive about it.
It is. It is.
That musicality you're drawn to isn't just a subjective feeling.
Right, right.
It's woven into the very fabric of the language.
Exactly.
One key factor is the high vowel to consonant ratio.
Oh.
Words often end in vowels, creating that flowing lyrical quality.
Yeah, I love that.
And we can't forget those double consonants we talked about earlier.
Exactly.
How do they...
Well, contribute to this musicality. Yeah. They add distinct rhythm and emphasis.
Right.
Remember how we discussed staccato in pronunciation?
Oh, right. It's also a musical term referring to short detached notes.
Right.
Those double consonants create a similar effect in spoken Italian.
Right.
Lending a sense of rhythm that you don't find in many other languages.
So it's like the language itself has a built-in musicality.
It does.
Which explains why so many musical terms like tempo and soprano have Italian origins. It all makes sense.
It does.
And this musicality extends to Italian literature as well, right?
Yes.
I remember reading Dante in college and being struck by how beautifully the language flowed.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Italian literature, from Dante to Petrarch to contemporary authors, is renowned for its lyrical quality.
Right.
This inherent musicality allows writers to craft sentences that are not only meaningful, but also aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. Now, let's say our listener is planning a trip to Italy.
Oh, okay.
Armed with a few basic phrases, what advice would you give them for navigating those linguistic waters?
First off, I'd encourage them to embrace the diversity of Italian dialects.
Right.
While standard Italian will generally be understood, venturing off the tourist track might expose you to fascinating regional variations in pronunciation and vocabulary.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask for clarification.
Right.
It's all part of the cultural immersion.
And knowing a few key phrases.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In Italian.
Yeah.
Can really enhance the travel experience.
Right.
Showing respect for the culture.
And opening up opportunities for connection with locals.
Excellent.
Phrases like buongiorno for good morning, grazie for thank you, and per favor for please are essential. It's also helpful to understand the difference between the formal and informal ways of address. Is the formal and respectful form, while to is used more casually with friends and family. Knowing when to use each can make a big difference in social interactions.
It's fascinating how those little linguistic details can have such a
huge,
significant cultural impact. But beyond the practical aspects, what's the most important thing for a traveler to remember when encountering the Italian language?
I think it's approaching the language with a sense of curiosity. Openness and a willingness to learn. Don't let fear of making mistakes hold you back. Embrace the challenge. Enjoy the process of discovery. And have fun. Connecting with Italian culture. Through its language.
I love that. It reminds me of something I read about the Italian approach to life, embracing the art of la dolce vita, or the sweet life.
The sweet life.
And that brings us to the final part of our deep dive, exploring the profound link between the Italian language and its vibrant culture.
Awesome.
It's amazing how language acts as a bridge, connecting us to different aspects of a culture when it comes to Italian.
Music, food, and fashion. It's all so intertwined.
You're absolutely right. Understanding the language unlocks a deeper level of appreciation. For instance, think about Italian Renaissance art. Knowing Italian allows you to explore the writings of masters like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, giving you a glimpse into their thoughts and creative processes. You can also delve into the art criticism of that period, gaining a richer context for those masterpieces.
And what about food? I mean, Italian cuisine is beloved worldwide, but I imagine knowing the language enhances that experience further.
Imagine this. You're not just ordering your pasta dish. You're discussing regional specialties with the chef. Maybe even deciphering a handwritten family recipe. Passed down through generations.
Suddenly, it's not just about the flavors, but also the stories, the traditions, and the heart that goes into each dish.
It is.
Our source article highlighted how many everyday words, especially in the culinary world, have Italian origins: broccoli, zucchini, and, of course, pasta. It's remarkable how ingrained these words have become in our vocabulary. And let's not forget, fashion. Italy is a global trendsetter.
It is. It is.
And I bet knowing Italian opens up a whole new understanding of that world.
Absolutely. Think about iconic fashion houses. Like Gucci, Prada.
And Versace, knowing Italian allows you to grasp the nuances of their designs, understand the meaning behind those evocative brand names, and appreciate the artistry that goes into creating those exquisite garments. It's like having a backstage pass to the world of Italian haute couture.
So from art and food to fashion and beyond, the Italian language is truly a passport to a more immersive cultural experience.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, when you think about all the facets we've explored today, from its history and dialects to its grammar and cultural impact, what would you say is the most essential thing to remember about the Italian language?
For me, it's the importance of approaching Italian with an open mind and a genuine desire to connect. Don't get hung up on the complexities or fear making mistakes. Embrace the challenge, savor the beauty of the language, and most importantly, have fun with it.
So well said.
Oh, thanks.
It's like We've gone on a journey today, uncovering the layers of this beautiful and expressive language.
It is. And it's a journey that continues long after this deep dive ends. Learning a language is a lifelong process of discovery. One that enriches not just our understanding of another culture, but also our own.
As we wrap up our exploration of the Italian language, we leave you with this thought.
Okay.
How does the musicality of Italian enhance our appreciation of its art? Music and cuisine.
Good question.
It's something to ponder as you embark on your own journey of discovery with this captivating language.
It is.
Ciao.
Ciao.